in the classical elements, water is the emotion, right? Water and emotion are correlates. What about the aspect if someone's going through their own journey, they're using the EE system as part of a physical, but also an emotional, mental, spiritual transformation in their life? Can the salt bath kind of like take some of that emotion? Can you vacate it into the water? You are tuned into the Everything's Energy Show. Today, I am your host, Roland, and I am joined by my effervescent experts on detox salt baths, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael and May. Welcome. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Actually, it's an amazing day. I know you're just feeling ducky, right?
I am ducky as they come. I'm ready for my bath.
Or you will be.
I will be after this. This is true.
Yeah, I did mine this morning. Yeah, the detox salt bath. I mean, it's everybody has so many questions about it because it is so very important for people to know about and understand because it is the world's easiest detox. Because nothing does what a bath does. The skin is the largest organ of elimination. It's the third kidneys. That's our basic anatomy physiology. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember from school. At least I'm remembering now as we're talking about it.
And it's applied integrated biophysics in that the salt, and this we're talking sea salt, a good mineral salt, a salt of the earth kind of salt or sea salt, and that with all the minerals and things, salt is negative charge, and the toxins in the body are positive charge. But also the salt will pull the toxicity, but also the acidity out of the tissues. So it's very, very important then for helping with balancing the pH in the body and things like that. But it'll pull all the heavy metals. It'll pull, you can detox so many levels of things with that. And I have worked with the detox salt bath since I had my spa. In 1978, it was Sam's Salon of Health in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and that's where I built my first scalar healing light chamber. But we had individual, I created my own formulas, and I had individual salt bathtubs for people to do their detox baths back. And so that's how long I've been really preaching about the
benefits of the salt bath.
The wonders of a salt bath.
So I have a question, if I can. People think salt bath, they go to magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt, right?
Right.
We're not talking Epsom salt. Why would an Epsom salt bath not do the same thing as, say, a detox salt bath?
Yeah, well, particularly now because we're living in such a toxic soup and people are so deficient in magnesium. So being deficient in magnesium, you put magnesium or Epsom salts in the tub, you're going to feel more relaxed because the body's going to grab that magnesium, but it's also going to pull in all the, there's so many toxins in our water supplies.
Mm.
And the thing is, we need to detox not pull in the magnesium. I do recommend magnesium, like magnesium oil or magnesium lotion after the bath. Or if somebody wants to do a magnesium soak after they've done the detox. But the detox is so important and so required for where we are right now on the planet. And especially, with using our technology, the body's trying to push toxins out of every nook and cranny it can get it out of. And the salt will pull that like a magnet. It's like I said, it's a negative charge. The toxin's a positive charge. And, we can talk about serious heavy metal detox with the salt bath. Literally, I'll just give one example of that where somebody was using our system for his wife and was having miraculous results. But he was a master metal worker, and he had all the contracts for building bridges and things like that worldwide, master metal worker. $1 million contracts. He said his first 6 baths turned the color of steel.
So reflective, shiny water?
Because very dark.
Yeah, wow.
But part of what we're dealing with, we're in such a toxic soup. And so, but the real thing is to send yourself to bath heaven. Breathe. Let everything dissolve into the water. even the emotional baggage, anything and everything. Breathe, because that's our respiration, expiration, right? Breathe, let everything dissolve into the water so it can go down the drain. Aloha.
Easy as that, right?
Well, I do want to clear up one other, I think, misconception that people have of, yes, the ocean is also salt water, but you don't get that same detox reaction and pull with going in the ocean. You do need the heat. You want the water to be as hot as possible to open up your capillaries and your pores so that things can come out more easily. It's also a different concentration as far as a different...
It's almost like a Soleil,
What's that, a Soleil?
It's a stronger salt concentration.
Okay.
So that you want a strong enough salt concentration that it'll pull all the toxins out. And you're not going to get the same effect if people go in the ocean, for example, because you need the heat. Our ocean is pretty polluted too right now, but need the heat because it creates more like an artificial fever.
So it stimulates the immune system and it starts to speed up circulation, and the body's going to start pushing things out through the skin.
Yeah, and it's like doing a fever without the body having to use its own energy to do that fever. And it's the benefits of sweating as well, without having to work up to a sweat per se. But it is also beneficial to, some of the bath trips, you might want to get in a far infrared sauna or a sauna and then get in the bathtub. And when we say salt bath, that's a minimum of 2 cups of salt in the tub.
Isn't it just pure salt? Is it like, what is there a formulation specificity, May?
No, I mean, 2 cups of sea salt is bare minimum. We're usually doing at least 2 cups sea salt and 2 cups of baking soda. So that's another reason why you can't just go in the ocean to get the same effect. And then from there, there's 100 different things at least that you can also add into the bath to optimize or pool in different ways. There's a bit of a homeopathy aspect there as well.
So you can target different toxins by additional ingredients, because the salt obviously is the main draw. The baking soda,
the main thing.
Okay, and the baking soda is pH.
Add some Epsom salt as long as they have 2 cups of salt.
Okay,
but it's still we don't want people pulling in. There's all these everybody's drugs and the forever chemicals and all these things besides the fluoride and the chlorine and just from one bath, let's talk about a shower. A hot shower. Just from one hot shower, you can absorb as much as 8 to 10 glasses of fluoride and chlorine that you would have from drinking 8 to 10 glasses.
The same quantity going to be absorbed through the environment in the shower
of fluoride and chlorine, which is why we also recommend people use our shower filter.
Well, you got something there. It's quite shiny and nice looking.
The shower filter. That's another important piece because, the other thing with the showers is people are breathing in all that chlorine gas. So one of the simplest, besides the salt bath, things for effectiveness for health is using a shower filter. And these are hypercharged, like our medallions and bracelets, and very cost effective. You get 2 filters with each package, and the filters are replaceable as well. They're hypercharged. I think it's, how much is it for?
They're 80, I believe.
About 80, 88, somewhere in there, right?
For the main thing plus a replacement cartridge.
Yeah, so that's very cost effective because that'll last a good year.
If you divide it by the number of showers per year, that's quite a cost effective thing. And you know what's interesting about a filter? So say someone does a bath, and I would imagine, if possible, filtering your bathwater would be a good idea, but you're detoxing all this stuff out. You get up, you shower off after the salt bath, and you're rechlorinating and applying whatever's coming out of the shower head directly to your skin again.
That's exactly right. So as long as you have the 2 cups of salt, you're not going to be pulling in all those toxins. That's why putting a filter on the shower is so important, because otherwise there's a long list of issues as far as everybody's chemo drugs and everything else that's not filtered out.
Now we're back to those endocrine disruptors that we talked about previously.
Yes, we have jumped in there.
The plastics, the forever chemicals, the PCBs, they're all in that water. So don't ever take a bath without at least 2 cups of salt in it.
Every time you bath.
as much as you can, unless you have a full house filtration system, which I know some small percentage of people have. I think the tricky bit is that a lot of people in this world, especially if you live in a major city, don't have a bathtub. They only have showers. So in that case, the far infrared sauna would still be good. There are smaller, collapsible versions you can get into to help with the detox, and then a salt scrub in the shower and or like a foot bath, hopefully something that gets above the ankles, though, is the tricky bit. And you'd use about half the quantity, 1 cup of salts instead of 2 for that.
So I want to ask a technical question about that, because everyone who gets in the system has no problem understanding the importance of getting in the system. What happens if you get in the system, but you don't bath? Can the body still detox in a natural way, or is this really completing the entirety of the experience? And if you don't do this...
Yeah, the thing is, you want to drink a lot of water. You want to make sure the bowels are moving. You want to make sure that, after using the EE system, particularly, the body's trying to push toxins out of every nook and cranny. And the fastest way out, the world's easiest detox, is that salt bath to pull it out. If people do not do the salt bath, then they might be reabsorbing some of what the body is trying to eliminate. And so it's not so good. But the salt also works with the potassium. Sodium pump works with the charge in the body. And especially when you have an EE charge, like our EE salt, which was created after Fukushima happened. And we said we've got to need to hypercharge our salt mixture to be able to pull all the radiolytic isotopes and all the radiation everybody's actually dealing with all the Wi-Fi, 5G, 6G, all these different things. Everybody's dealing with radiation poisoning. But when that became apparent after Fukushima happened, and we knew that that was a serious extinction level event, we created the EE salt, which is hypercharged, and it has a mixture of, again, the thing that makes it specific for radiation is 2 cups salt, 2 cups baking soda. But there's also green tea, which is one of the secrets for reversing radiation issues and also maintain the integrity of the DNA, which the big issue with radiation is it unzips the DNA. So it's got the green tea, it's got ginger, and it's got the bentonite clay.
I was going to ask about that because I've heard people adding bentonite clay. I've heard people adding borax. What are the purposes of those kinds? Are they binders? Are they enhancing the absorption so you don't get it back into the skin?
Yeah, clay absorbs. It's another absorption thing to help. Ginger, it has so many benefits, but working again with the circulation and also working with those aspects of the immune function, things like that. And then the borax is another thing that can be used, and it is also specific for radiation issues, but it's also a detoxer for synthetic biologies. Some of these interesting, anomalies that we're
seeing now. Yeah.
Yeah, the synthetic biologies, but also it's the number one detoxer of fluoride. So it's a way to pull the fluoride out of the body quicker, because the fluoride is, they finally came out that it's a neurotoxin. Some of the states are starting to ban it because it is a neurotoxin. It is so neurotoxic, but it also calcifies the pineal gland. It brittles bones and things like that. So the borax is another good thing for helping to support that particular detox.
And when it comes to synergistic strategies, like I see we have these brushes here. I mean, I used to think this is what my grandmother sudged her body with back in the day, but people do things like dry skin brushing. So you mentioned sauna. How does this potentially synergize with doing a detox bath?
Yep. The dry skin brushing is another thing I wanted to mention because it is so valuable and useful. And yes, it's an old school thing. Your mother used to do it, right?
I think my grandmother used to use it probably.
Yeah. Dry skin brushing, it's an exfoliation of those dead skin cells and things, but it really is important for the lymph, for activating the lymphatic system and getting the lymph moving. And so, people can pull up instruction on it if they want, but it's pretty simple. You brush towards the heart,
Because the lymphatic flows ducts back into the cardiovascular system in the heart, right?
Right. So generally, and but really, really good for circulation for the legs and things like that as well, and also just to exfoliate those dead skin cells and get those off. But it activates, opens up for opens up all the skin to be able to.
You want to keep the pores unclogged.
Yeah, well, like the lymph is the garbage disposal of the body, for lack of a better description, right? And I think a lot of people nowadays, because of sedentary lifestyle, accumulating toxics, the soup analogy that you use, they have stagnant lymph. And I think women experience this a lot more than men do, because you guys are putting personal care products on that may cause congestion. You wear bras, there's lots of lymph nodes under the armpits. So like, what happens to people if lymph gets stagnant, and why don't people focus on the importance of this?
Yeah, stagnant lymph. And that was a good way to bring that up, because there's so much to do with the lymphatic system. It's so important. And dry brushing is one of the best ways to support that, and especially after wearing bras and things to help move that. But it's important for men too. But also rebounding is another thing for lymph, for just bouncing. But the bath also helps support that lymphatic drainage as well.
Can someone overbath? Can you do too many? Will you dehydrate yourself potentially if you excessively bath?
Happening yet?
Okay.
I mean, maybe if you lived in the bathtub for a week straight, who knows? But I think you theoretically could take a bath every day if you wanted to, and you'd be perfectly healthy for it.
Yeah, cleanliness is next to godliness. You can't be too clean, really.
I like that.
And then the salt scrub is another great thing for the lymphatic and circulation. It's, I tell people to spa at home,
He's good.
Care these days, I think, is becoming very popular. And this is one of the easiest ways, both physically and emotionally, I think, to do that.
Emotionally? Why do you say emotionally? That's interesting.
Well, I think when you create certain rituals, I think that is one of those ways you're like, this is my me time. I'm going to breathe. Maybe you're not a meditator, but maybe you want to just kind of take that time when you're in the bath to just let go and wash off the day. I find that to be very helpful and therapeutic. Sometimes if I don't have time for a bath, I'll do a salt scrub in the shower at night after I've had like a very stressful or kind of been around a lot of people that I feel like their energy.
Yeah, that's like an old energetic practice. They say take a salt bath or shower off after you've been, because you accumulate in invisible energies in the environments that you're around.
But salt's always been known as the old purifier.
It's a great cleanser, yeah. What about the notion, and this is maybe a little bit of an abstract question, in the classical elements, water is the emotion, right? Water and emotion are correlates. What about the aspect if someone's going through their own journey, they're using the EE system as part of a physical, but also an emotional, mental, spiritual transformation in their life? Can the salt bath kind of like take some of that emotion? Can you vacate it into the water?
Absolutely. And that's why I said breathe and just take a divine moment, opportunity to let go of anything and everything that no longer serves you in your highest purpose, greatest life, greatest love. It's an opportunity. The water works with the emotions, also the salt being that purifier. And that's why breathe and let everything dissolve into water. Behind the physical toxins is always the emotional toxicity. Like the stagnant lymph and etc. is the way the holding patterns, things got stuck in the body and held in the body. And that breath is a way to let that release, let it be pulled out. Light a candle, work with some oils maybe with your bath as well. We love rose oil, but for, you might use pine oil or
eucalyptus, whatever you're called to. And maybe if you're having lung issues, and you go for more the eucalyptus menthol type things, just don't get them in your eye.
Probably not a fun experience if you do that.
But you can use the different oils for the emotional clearing as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, aromatherapy, this using the oils with the bath is very, very powerful.
And there's no negative interaction, say the oil chemically won't work with the salt or the clay or the binders. It's all going to be a nice, happy mixture.
You can keep adding. I don't know of anyone that's overdone different things in one bath. I mean, usually you might layer though. You might do, okay, I'm going to do the green tea and the baking soda, everything this bath. And then you might actually on a different day do a vodka bath.
A vodka bath. Explain.
Cycle different baths, so pull different toxins a little different.
Interesting.
Yeah. The vodka bath. I mean, we joke
What
about
is the vodka bath? I need to know what this is now. What's the vodka bath? Is that what you do in Russia? Da. Dobre.
the vodka bath. Yes. I think when I was doing a lot of work in Hollywood, it passed around Hollywood as the the celebrity bath when it was with Sky vodka, the blue bottle and the Sky vodka. But I tell people to just use cheap vodka, whatever cheap vodka.
That one's not that expensive.
Whatever.
In that category, next to Smirnoff.
Sky vodka has the blue bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that was their version. That was what got passed around Hollywood from when I was working with some celebrities. But anyway, it can be cheap vodka. And that's, again, 2 cups of vodka added, 2 cups of salt is the bare minimum with every bath. So you can use the whole salt, it's hypercharged, or you can use a mixture of the salt and the baking soda, but 2 cups of vodka, because that helps pull the alcohols out of the body. Again, it's that
Like attracts like. Ah, interesting.
And the sugars turn into alcohol. So that's an excellent bath for people that have been alcoholic to use, but it's all, but you tell them not to drink it.
Is it don't drink the bathwater?
Supervision depends that they are in their journey.
Fair.
Yeah, but it's also very, very good for people that have had diabetes or, things like that, to pull the excess sugars out of the body.
Yeah, because
The sugars,
it can get glycated. Yeah, interesting.
yeah. So each one pulls a little differently. Another version is using apple cider vinegar, which has all kinds of benefits for the skin. That's an old school, old time grandma's remedy, for skin issues.
I had a buddy who used to soak his, going to sound a little gross, his athlete's foot in apple cider vinegar water, and he swore by it.
Okay. Another fun one is, if you can get it, food grade hydrogen peroxide, not just the 2% one.
Well, you can use the food grade hydrogen peroxide and say a cup to 2 cups in the bath. And I mean, I had a naturopathic doctor who was a mentor of mine actually years ago, and he talked about using a strong enough hydrogen peroxide mixture that parasites would come out into the water very
Talking
regularly.
like seeing worms and various long, tapered, skinny things.
All kinds of
better out
things.
than in.
Always.
Out than in. But I say even that brown bottle, that simple brown bottle of
2%, the kind you get for 99 cents at Walgreens type.
99 cents at Walgreens, whatever, at Costco, that bottle. You can add that bottle to your bath as well. And that's going to be kind of bathing in oxygen a little bit more. So that's more of an oxygen bath.
Which we probably could all use more of nowadays because the quantity of oxygen in the environment dwindles by the year.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
So this is wonderful because I think the weight of importance on this aspect of the EE system protocol, it needs to be encouraged a little bit more. And I think the baths are obviously the foundational point of it. What about some lifestyle strategies beyond baths? We can talk about dietary stuff. How about enemas and anything else to help? I know we have to go there, but
maybe a whole nother complete episode. But yes, I mean, we talk a lot about oxymag. If some people are opposed to the enema colonic route, they're like, oh, nothing goes up there. Well, okay, take it from orally and let the body handle the rest.
Yeah, that's ozonated magnesium, oxymag, or also called oxy powder. And that was a formula that Tesla originally created when he saw what was going to be needed by people.
Really?
For the detox. And the reason I like ozonated magnesium is it releases oxygen through the entire intestinal tract.
And it doesn't cause all that cramping and things that some other substances may, while helping you void. But I think it just...
Yeah, we also recommend enemas.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking all the channels of detox, right? Because the skin's a big one, but you're wanting to make sure you're breathing well, you're eating well, you're voiding well, and you're sweating well. And I just think all of this stuff is absolutely imperative if you wish to improve your health.
Yeah, the old cancer protocols always included I mean, this goes back. You've probably heard of this.
I read
Coffee enemas.
Dr. Bernard Jensen's book and the Gerson Institute stuff, all of that
Gerson.
stuff. Yeah.
This was standard with Gerson.
Yeah.
Coffee enemas. So yeah, I used to joke about it, the Kahuna coffee break. Instead of bottoms up, it's up the bottoms with that coffee. It's the right place for everything.
So basically, if you go to a coffee shop and someone's like, how do you like your coffee? You shouldn't say rectally.
Let's go with an IV joke, but this one would probably be a little bit healthier.
Yeah. Just don't make it too hot. That might burn.
Because it is a powerful way to, again, sometimes people pass parasites with the coffee enema. But I know from personal experience and with working with so many people for so many decades with the enemas, but it also helps detox the liver, which everybody knows that there's, the liver issues right now too, fatty liver, all that stuff. So it's a way to move the bile and detox the liver, and so the coffee enemas can be quite useful.
I mean, anything that you can get out of your system in an accelerated way when the body has the energy to get it out is only going to improve your overall health and vitality, I'd imagine. So this is all wonderful information.
Yeah, let's shift go.
Let's shift go.
I think some people do get a little afraid of detox sometimes, like, oh, I'm very sensitive and I don't want to do this too quickly. I mean, yes, sometimes it doesn't feel good on the way out. But again, it's sometimes like when you're cleaning out your closet, it does get a little bit more disorganized in the process of making it cleaner, right? And so I think welcome that process. Just take the time to be gentle with yourself for a day or two and let yourself not feel fabulous, and then enjoy the fact that you will feel better down the road.
Yeah, being gentle with yourself is really an important principle of it. Being willing to give yourself a little bit more time to rest and recharge and things like that. The spa at home, the self-care, because you only get one body this life. It is your number one investment.
It's your vessel. I'll never forget. And I was in grade 3 or 4, and we had this martial arts practitioner, and his Asian accent, he'd always say, your body is your temple. And I never understood it until I started learning a little bit more about the body. I'm like, this guy knew what he was talking about.
The Bible, and it really stuck.
Yeah.
To me, it is the temple of our Holy Spirit. So, yeah.
I think a bunch of older people too, they go, oh, if I'd known aging was going to be this miserable, I would have taken better care of myself when I was younger.
Hindsight's always 20/20. I think, do what you can with what you have available to you, but we're also talking about this so people can be proactive. Taking a bath is not a hard thing to do.
And if you don't take time for your wellness, you'll be taking time for your illness.
And that's a pretty expensive thing in this country for last time I checked.
Yeah. But also, again, if you want to even think about it from a monetary point of view, how much do you lose out if you're not making clear decisions in business, or you can't work over time? So it costs you in that realm too. It's not just costing you in actual monetary, it's costing you in potential income.
And the toxins have to do a lot with that brain fog and things. And headaches are always connected to the colon being backed up. So back to that, the quickest way to clear a headache is a coffee enema, for example. But the first sign of any kind of uncomfortable thing in the body, where the body's, you were on a flight, for example, and the person next to you was coughing. Whatever it is, the first thing to do when you get home is take that salt bath. Or the body's first sign of not feeling good. Like I said, it's get in that salt bath, and the body will be able to push that out. And if there's the least little bit of a fever, or the body's starting to react that way, support the body in what it's trying to do.
It's got its own wisdom. That's a really wise thing, because people think that they have to mask a fever by taking a Tylenol, or a negative symptom is something to worry about.
The innate intelligence of the body knows what it's doing.
Yep.
And if you can do that fever without having to use the body's energy to do it, that's a real trick. So it'll accelerate that whole process of how the body wants to heal and clear, where it doesn't have to bother to do the fever and everything else, and doesn't have to bother to, take days to get, whatever, toxins out. Let's support the body in detoxing easily and elegantly.
I can get behind that. Ladies, thank you so much. Any final thoughts on baths? Any advice to anyone who's going through their health journey and tips and tricks to make it implementable and practical?
One we don't talk about very often, because we do talk about salt baths a lot all over the place. And that's the idea of also, again, back to homeopathy, of saving maybe a mason jar full of your previous bath water
Mm-hmm.
and putting it in your next bath.
Oh, dig into that a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a powerful bath hack. Talk about biohacking.
The original biohacking.
This is a biohacking thing because, whatever the body is already trying to push out, save a jug, a pitcher, a jar of that bath water, okay? And then start with all fresh everything for the next bath, but add that to it. It puts in solution what the body was already trying to detox, and again, we'll pull it like a magnet. That's a homeopathic remedy, so to speak. And that's very powerful to work with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You see someone have all these jars of non-marked water in their bathroom. They're like to your spouse, don't touch it.
More than one, I think, unless you're. But
it could be a family. I suppose.
Then you label it.
That would be another point: is don't do a detox bath with somebody else.
Ooh.
I think
So no cozy couple baths when you're detoxing.
I would say it is one of those few things of sharing is not caring in this situation. Do this solo.
Self-care for your own time. I get it.
Yeah, and you name it, we've seen it with the baths. Some people, it was like sand in the bottom of the tub the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, other people, it's like oily and greasy and green or something, different colors. Other people have taken a black light to it. And, I've had some of my special forces guys do this, and they said they don't recommend anybody do it because it was the scariest stuff they've ever seen.
You can't unsee that,
Because
can you?
because you could see all these things glowing and moving in the water.
Deal. I love that.
Out and in.
You know what? I think I have the perfect way to end this. I think we should let this information soak in for a moment. And I want to thank you both for the wonderful expertise. I think that if anyone was on the fence about understanding the merits and the specifics of a salt bath, other than listening to this episode to get the tidbits again, I think you just got to get in the tub and practically clean the bathtub after you've done a detox salt bath. I would hope so.
Yeah. Send yourselves to bath heaven. Breathe. Let everything dissolve into the water. And let it go down the drain. Aloha.
I love that. Dr. Sandra May, thank you very much for your expertise and your wisdom. And thank you all for being here and listening. We will be back with some more great content later. So please do like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who you feel this message will resonate with.